fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got tracks and he's going with the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to him.
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
It's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go.
Oh no!
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
Assist to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Rayon Fowler into the outside wall.
He's gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Racely to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is gonna touch in. Pit press sideways.
saved it.
What a save!
Look to the outside as Trunkgate goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
He's trying, there's contact though.
Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Renner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe. Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cutback here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Makashube, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
Welcome one and all to another SimSpeed TV broadcast, bringing you the Oceanic Dirt Sim Events 360 Power Series. This is the WP Concreting FireCracker 35 from Volusia Speedway Park in Barberville, Florida. The second time we are visiting Volusia. We first went there in round 2, and we come back for round 11 of 12. My name is Reese Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box, Cameron Dance. Once again, Cam, it's going to be a 35-lap A-main here at Volusia Speedway Park, but this track really turned it up last time we were here with a photo finish, an incident between Joel Berkeley and Alex Bergeron, allowing Jock Goodyear to come home with a victory.
Yeah, it was certainly a controversial round of racing at the first round we came here, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. No Alex Bergeron this time, but there is definitely Joel Berkeley and Tim Ryan, so expect those two to duke each other out the whole way through. And with Joel leading the points, he's not going to leave anything on the table, more or less.
Yeah, certainly not. Joel Berkeley is on the top of the points table before drop rounds have been applied. We will have to keep that in mind for the final round of the season next week. But Tim Ryan starting to lose his grip on the championship lead he enjoyed for the majority of this season. Incidents and run-ins with other drivers, unfortunately, putting him back a bit in his championship charge. But Joel Berkeley has now won the last 3 in a row A-mains. And he's on an excellent run towards the end of the season. And look at who is in 6th, BRENTON, HOBSON. That's something we're going to have to mention for tonight, Cam, because we got a special bit of prize money in for this round. Of course, we have $10 for the A-main winner, courtesy of ZP Images. We have $5 for the hard charger, the most positions gained in the field in the A-main, thanks to Simpson Safety Australia, Queensland. And Brenton Hobson himself has decided to put up $20 of prize money for the person finishing in 6th place tonight. Isn't that great?
Yeah, it's really, really cool to see that Hobbo's gone along with the joke and pretty much put something up for grabs for everyone to try and aim for, more or less, if you're not going to be at the front of the field. So it'll be interesting to see who comes away with that. Possibly might be Hobbo himself who comes away with it, but nevertheless, looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously a lot of other drivers in that top 10 that have had some patchy seasons but have still shown flashes of brilliance, the likes of Bradley Oldfield and Lewis Hewitt as well in that top 5. Looking forward to seeing how the majority of these drivers go tonight. Unfortunately, Jock Goodyear, winner last time out at Volusia, is not here tonight, so it's going to be someone else taking that $10 from ZP Images for that A main win. But the WP Concreting FireCracker 35 certainly going to be a great race and an excellent way to cap off this second half of the championship as we go through the second last round for the season. The track is now open and we see drivers hitting their initial times, sussing out what the track is like.
Yeah, track pretty much clean as you can get, so it's going to be all about just pretty much trying to wear it out as much as you possibly can and sort of then get a feel of what to sort of expect in qualifying. As obviously the track's going to be very different from what it is at the start of practice to what it's going to be for the start of qualifying, so we'll see what happens. But at the moment, Harry Stewart on the top of the timesheets.
Yeah, Harry Stewart doing very well with a 13.5 second lap time. Volusia, an incredibly fast racetrack, half a mile in length. That's about 800 meters. And it's got a very interesting shape. It's got a curved back stretch. Used to be, it actually opened as a dirt oval, and it was briefly an asphalt oval for a period in the 80s and 90s. It's actually hosted some second-tier NASCAR races in its time as well, but in a 360 sprint car, this place is absolutely wild. We ride on board with an excellent view of what it's like for the driver around here, going very close to the wall. Dylan DeBono through turn 1 and then down into 3 and 4, taking a wide line up at the top of the circuit. Interesting to see.
Yeah, it certainly is interesting to see, and you might find some drivers in qualifying will use that line to try and sort of get some momentum built up before they start their first or second flying lap. So it's one of those quirks about this track where you can try and get a bit of speed up. As you can see Hobbo there using sort of more of a squared off line, which you might find in the feature when the track starts to slick up. But nevertheless, it'll be interesting to see what happens in terms of lines and who ends up on pole.
Yes, indeed. We've only got a short amount of time left until we get into qualifying, and in terms of that session, well, we know that Tim Ryan is one of the drivers to beat at Volusia. He's on top of the timesheets as we finish off the session, only beating Harry Stewart by 0.5 of a second. So going to be very close between these guys in the qualifying session, which is starting now. 4 minutes the drivers have, and 2 laps each is what they're going to get. They'll only have 2 opportunities to put down a 13.5 second lap time and stake their claim for a good start in the heat races. Remember, this is Speedway, heat racing, and then we have the pole dash. But we've got drivers setting times already. Trent Gosley starting off his run, and he's running a little bit lower off the high line, but not quite hitting the bottom either in 1 and 2, taking a very late apex in 3 and 4. First lap home for Trent, a 13.798. Puts him top of the timesheets provisionally, but Bradley Oldfield immediately pips him on a 13.72. Devin Butts moves himself into second place. There goes Jacob Dixon and Cruz McVee to the top of the timesheets. These times are falling. We're now down to a 13.7, but we still have the big guns to look forward to and see if they can get a 13.5. Have a look at Stewart, Cam, 13.6.
Yeah, Stewart laying down the law here in the early stages of qualifying with a 13.6. So very, very nice time there from Harry Stewart. But obviously still some of the big hitters yet to come out, the likes of Joel Berkeley, the likes of Tim Ryan, the likes of Hobbo and Lewis Hewitt and co. It's really just going to be interesting to see who ends up taking this. And remember that it's a top 4 invert as well. So some of these drivers will try to manipulate their lap times to try and set them up to start on pole for their race, while also taking into consideration that they've got to try and make sure that they don't lose any points out of qualifying as well. So we'll see who does what and who can end up trying to be the best qualifier, but also the best starting position.
Yes, indeed. Lewis Hewitt has just brought it home for his second lap. Unfortunately, he can do no better than very far down the timesheets. Stewart still sits on top on a 6.75, but looks like about 12, 14 positions down that Hewitt is at the moment, from my view anyway, on my end. But Joel Berkeley now comes across the start-finish line to stake his claim. Berkeley with a 13.669 puts himself on pole. Or sorry, not on pole. In P1 for now, which is going to give him a 4th place start in Heat 1. Drivers that still have yet to set a time, Damian Rasmussen. Oh, actually, Rasmussen has just put a time on the sheets, 13.78. Lockie Beattie's still out there as well, but Brenton Hobson and Tim Ryan have yet to set their times. They're the last 2 drivers we're waiting on.
Yeah, and Tim's just starting to roll off pit road now, so we'll see what he can do as far as the lap time goes. Going to try and burn as much fuel as he possibly can, running right up against the outside wall, probably for his first lap and probably his first flying lap, but comes across the stripe now to start his lap, and we'll see what sort of lap time he can do for the first flying lap that he's got before he puts it into gear for the second flying lap, running right up against the outside wall there, as we talked about early in practice, to get some momentum up. Sets his first lap, currently at the pretty much 4th to last at this stage, but we'll see what their lap time is this time by as he comes through 3 and 4, running a little bit above the slick line, and at 3 and 4 comes across the stripe and P1.
6.46 there for Tim Ryan. And what about Brenton Hobson? He has managed to set a 13.726, which puts him just outside the top 10, but an excellent time from Tim Ryan there. There was people calling a 13.5 in the InSim driver chat from Tim Ryan, but unfortunately, they haven't quite gotten their wish.
Yeah, it was probably possible that Tim could have done a 5, but just not quite at the end of the day. But nevertheless, Heat 1 is up, and we've got Mitchell G, Bradley Oldfield on row 1, followed by Aaron Kelly and Tim Ryan on row 2. Row 3, Hayden Pascal and Lewis Hewett, and then go back to Damian Rasmussen, John Schultz, Lockie Beattie, Billy Ryan, and Hayden Veld rounding out the field.
Yeah, 11 cars here in this heat race, and the heats are 8 laps long here at Volusia. And from every previous round this season, we've said it before, we say it again, the top 3 from each heat gets an immediate ticket through to the A main. So if you want to have a nice, easy night of it and not have to do any more racing from in between your heat and the A main, you have to finish on the podium.
You're certainly doing it. It's reasonably hard work, especially if you are starting a little bit down the order in these fresher track state heats where you've kind of only got really one line and one real try at getting the pass done. So it's going to be interesting to see if anybody actually moves up, and we'll obviously watch out for Tim Ryan to see if he can come all the way from 4th to pretty much 1st, although we've seen in other rounds where the inverter sort of kind of cost him a little bit and he's possibly missed out on a feature, or he's had a moment and ended up not finishing at the front.
Yeah, exactly. He'll want to get rid of those demons in these last 2 rounds if he wants to properly secure the championship against Joel Berkeley. But anything can happen in Speedway, certainly. It's been a very strong season, I think, from both drivers who are fighting for the title at the moment. So 2 laps then behind the safety car, the iRacing pace truck, before we go racing for the first time tonight. Off the first row, G and Oldfield. Oldfield is the name that jumps out to me there. He's certainly got what it takes to cruise away with a win in the heats, but with Tim Ryan starting there in 4th place, he is definitely going to have his work cut out for him.
Yeah, he certainly is, especially on this lower track state. He's got the likes of Lewis Hewett as well, just behind him, Damian Rasmussen as well. So few quick drivers starting a little bit down the order, but a few quick drivers starting just ahead of them as well. So it's going to be a very, very competitive heat. And again, will be very fascinating to see who ends up coming away with those top 3 and who ends up going through to that dash as well with those top 2.
Yeah, exactly. We'll talk about the dash when it comes round. Certainly going to be an interesting one, but we are green here at Volusia Speedway Park, and it's a great start from Tim Ryan trying to get Oldfield around the outside, but they make contact, and Ryan almost gets sent into the wall, and he's been sent all the way to the back of the field right on lap 1, but G still holds on to that first position. Aaron Kelly now in 2nd, Lewis Hewett in 3rd, Bradley Oldfield, after starting in second, is now back and forth. Some side-by-side running between John Schultz and Hayden Pascoe. And this is where you can really see how much the speed of Volusia impacts the racing. Oh, a bit of contact between Rasmussen and Beattie in the background. And Tim Ryan has absolutely nowhere to go. Clobbers Billy Ryan, and Billy Ryan has had to take a bit of a detour himself. But Tim Ryan still trying to fight his way up towards the back of this field. Oh, cars almost coming together. Hayden Pascoe now into the wall, as now Bradley Oldfield going for that lead and taking it back. A great drive in these last couple of laps.
Yeah, he's done a really, really good job to get the lead back, and it's been very hotly contested as that top 4 positions. Even those top 3 positions, Lewis Hewett now all over the back end of Mitchell G. Seems to just be struggling a little bit. Hewett going down to the bottom side of the racetrack to try and get a bit of a run and straight up the inside. So move done and into the A main at this stage for Lewis Hewett. But at the moment, Mitchell G not letting him get too far away, and John Schultz also in there as well. Tim Ryan, P nowhere at the moment, and is really struggling to make any gains here.
Yeah, he is. Definitely not used to this kind of performance from Tim Ryan, but I think that lap 1 incident might have rattled him a bit. Lewis Hewett now really on the back of Aaron Kelly for second place. These guys don't want to come together as they start the final lap and ruin the night for both of them. But Bradley Oldfield up the front, entering turns 3 and 4. A nice measured drive from Bradley, and he takes victory in the first heat of the night. Aaron Kelly holding off Lewis Hewett for that 3rd place. So Oldfield and Kelly both through into the twin dash that is happening later on in the night. We move forward then into Heat 2 immediately. Ethan Bastian is going to be starting on pole with Caden Brown, sharing the front row with him. Alan Tacken and Joel Berkeley in the last, in the second row, sorry. Of course, Joel Berkeley will want to try and consolidate his championship fight with Tim Ryan here, with Ryan's bad result in Heat 1. Matt Reed and Daniel Gow, 5th and 6th, with Devin Butts and Nathan Norman, 7th and 8th. The field is rounded out by our 5th row of Vince Romeo and Corey Steinhauser. Now, this is a field that looks quite interesting. Ethan Bastian, certainly a driver that we've seen good things from in the past, but Joel Berkeley has shown himself to be the class of the field on more than one occasion this season.
Yeah, he certainly has shown that he's got a lot of pace, and he's sitting in prime position at the moment, because you have to remember Tim Ryan hasn't made the feature tonight based on the fact that he finished in P5 in his P6, sorry. So he's going to have a lot of work to do, whereas if Joel Berkeley can sit himself inside that A main transfer spot or even win the heat, he's going to be well and truly on his way to win this championship at this rate.
Yeah, certainly is. So all he has to do is keep it on the clay stuff, as it were, and stay out of trouble. But it is a bit difficult to do at a place like Volusia with the amount of high speeds you've got. The track is certainly a wide one, but some the way the lines move through the turns at this place, it means that the margin for error is very, very narrow, and it's very easy for a driver to try a slide job or make a mistake in the middle of a turn or something like that, and really sets you back, can potentially set your rivals back too. Well, the field is formed up. The iRacing pace truck is going to come in, and we will go green for Heat 2 of the night imminently. What kind of start is Ethan Bastian going to get here? Not a very good one. Caden Brown has gotten the jump on him, as has Berkeley. Oh, a bit of contact between Bastian and Berkeley in the middle of turn 2, and it looks like Bastian up into second place again. Daniel Gow has managed to shoot himself up from 6th to 3rd at the end of lap 1, but Berkeley is going to waste no time trying to get past him here.
Yeah, he's going to throw a big slide jump up the inside of turn 1, but not quite going to get it done. Going to throw another one into turn 3. Successful this time by Sir Berkeley back inside the transfer spots. Is going to have to try and defend from Daniel Gow and Alan Tacken as well, who is not too far behind. Nathan Norman getting involved in this battle as well. But at the moment, front of the field, leaders come together, and Berkeley with parting the seas.
Yeah, Caden Brown now all the way to the back, and the incident's continued. He's made some contact with Devin Butts, who has gone straight around and all the way to the back of the field. So not a good look there. Ethan Bastian has pulled over and stopped. He's gone back to the garage. So we've lost a couple of our main competitors in this heat already. That means that Joel Berkeley is now promoted to the lead as it's on for second between Alan Tacken and Daniel Gow. They trade places in turns 3 and 4 once again, and you see the groove really starting to form on the track now. Goodness me, Gow going very hard into the turn, skipping over that loose clay, over the very smooth clay on the bottom of the circuit. And looks like he's just backed off for now, but could be a slide job incoming for sure.
Yeah, certainly could be. He's just trying to set it up to get enough momentum to get on clear, to get or find a way past Alan Tacken, but nevertheless, Gow just really trying a different line. He's trying everything that he possibly can to get momentum, but just running to the inside in turn 1 isn't quite going to work. But nevertheless, Joel Berkeley is going to take the win in Heat 2, followed by Alan Tacken. Daniel Gow is going to just hold on for a final transfer spot.
Wow, that was an excellent race for sure. Some interesting battling that we saw and a couple of incidents too. So Berkeley, Tacken, and Gow all move forward into the A main, with Tacken and Berkeley getting through into the pole dash. We instantly move through to Heat 3. And it's the 10-car field once again. Brad O'Brien and Clayton Davies are going to be starting on the front row, with Cruz McVee and Harry Stewart starting on the second row. And Harry Stewart, you'd think, is one of the drivers who'll try to rocket his way up to the front of this one. Same with Dylan DeBono and Trent Gosley on row 3. Dale Jordison and Carl Hoffman's also a chance they could do the same, with Bradley Sanders and Zach Howell and Callum Davidson. Sorry, going one name too many. Zach Howell is the final driver on this particular grid as they move away.
Yeah, so it's really going to be all about that 4th, 5th, 6th, and even 7th as well, possibly 8th, and even Bradley Sanders. Pretty much everybody outside the top 5 is one to watch, based on the fact that they've got some very good pace, and obviously starting a little bit down the order is going to make things a little bit of a challenge, but really it's going to be very hotly contested between those outside the top 10.
Yeah, certainly is. We'll have to wait and see how this goes for these drivers in the 3rd heat of the night. Harry Stewart running his Dark United Esports livery, and he's one of the drivers that did very well at Volusia last time we ran here. He was a beneficiary of the incident between Alex Bergeron and Joel Berkeley right at the finish of the A main. Got himself a podium out of it, so he'll be hoping for more of the same in this particular round. But down the back stretch once more before the green flag flies and we go racing for another 8 laps. It's going to be interesting to see who can line up the start well, because we've seen some difficult starts from those on the inside. The green flag flies. Brad O'Brien is a little too far behind, but he rockets back up into the lead. A great run, but Clayton Davies is going to over-under him on the back stretch, and Stewart is going to try and follow him through here on the inside, but it looks like Brad O'Brien had the energy of the cushion behind him in the mid-corner. Not enough, though, because Harry Stewart has just gone through to take 2nd place. And have a look at Trent Gosley, the way he is starting to rocket up through the field. Now he's going to try and get past O'Brien. He's lost momentum in the middle of the turn, though. O'Brien stays ahead for at least one more lap. Clobbers the wall, though, for his troubles. There goes Gosley with a big slide job that ultimately isn't successful.
Yeah, Brad O'Brien got left to hang out to dry on the outside there just before the big slide job just behind from Chris McVee, and Gosley and DeBono come together down the front straight. Just managed to hold on to it, but now Gosley is going to have his hands full trying to get back up to that front pack, and now he's going to be in a battle with Dale Jordison, and he's going to throw a slide job on Jordison, and Jordison's going to come straight back at him.
Yeah, it's not good there for Mr. Gosley, but it is on for the lead versus Davies and Stewart. Harry is running the cushion right behind Davies at the moment. He's actually taking that wider entry into the turns as well. Doesn't seem to be benefiting him a huge amount. Davies still running those tighter lines, using a little bit more of the slick groove that's forming around the circuit, but it looks like he has the edge for now. It's the penultimate lap for these guys, so Stewart is only going to have one more chance here to try and take a heat victory. Is it going to be a slide job? He's got the momentum up through turns 3 and 4 on the penultimate lap. They start the final lap. He's running very low, tries the low line to see if he can make it work, but loses all of that momentum. So this is going to leave Clayton Davies to take home a dominant victory in Heat 3. Stewart joins him in the pole dash, and Brad O'Brien holds on for third. He gets a ticket into the A main.
Yeah, very, very good drive from the top three to end up getting through to the A main. A shame for Trent Goz, who nearly made it through to the A main with the way that he was going, but nevertheless, Heat 4 is indeed up, and it will be Zach Fallon and Brenton Hobson on the front row, Jacob Dixon and James Rice on row 2. Row 3, Aston Hurley and Ryan Harris. Row 4, Callum Davidson and Travis Castagna. And rounding out the field on row 5, Hayden McCandy and Hayden Cardwell.
Now, this is quite the field. Zach Fallon of One Performance Racing. We know that he has got a great amount of talent. Same for Aston Hurley and Ryan Harris. Both of those guys have shown themselves to be in contention for podiums in the past. But I think particularly in Harris's case as well, just has the issue of finding trouble a little too much. If he can keep himself out of other people's hair, or if other people can stop crashing around him, I'm sure he would have a good bit more success in this series, but still taking nothing away from his driving skill. Can say the same for Castagna and Hayden Cardwell as well. Of course, Hayden Cardwell winning quite a bit in the last 2 rounds and doing very well for himself. So it's going to be an interesting drive for him from the back of the field.
Yeah, very interesting to actually see Hayden all the way back at the rear of the field. I don't believe he actually set a qualifying time either. So, no, he actually did, but it was pretty much second to last. So we'll see what happens in this heat and whether he can make his way on through the field up into that top 3. But nevertheless, going to be very, very competitive at that front.
Yeah, for sure. Down the back stretch once again, this curved back stretch at Volusia Speedway Park. This track has quite an interesting general line around it. You have to dip in low in 4 and 1, but interesting to see who gets the better run down the back stretch. We are green, and it's a nice even start between Zach Fallon and Brenton Hobson, but Fallon with the inside line, he's lost a bit of momentum there on the groove, and Hobson comes through to take the lead. James Rice trying for that 3rd place, and have a look at Jacob Dixon making a bit of contact with Rice, and that's concertinaed everyone into each other. Hayden Cardwell spinning, and that's resulted in a huge pile-up with a couple of cars losing their front wings. Ryan Harris and Travis Castagna, to be exact. Oh, it's on for the lead as well. Fallon trying on Hobson. Looks like the racing in this heat is getting particularly intense.
Yeah, there's battles all through the field at the moment, and all sorts of drama as well happening. There's still more drama happening, but Zachary Fallon still hunting down Brenton Hobson at the moment. Everybody running up the top side of the racetrack to try and use that little bit of a lip that loose dirt sort of created with everybody running up there, but nevertheless, it's very, very close and very tight. And Fallon now even closer.
Oh, he's really raring to go here versus Hobson. He goes right up into the cushion to try and straight line it as much as he can down the back stretch. He goes for the slide job down the inside as turns 3 and 4 tighten. Hobson tries to hold it round the outside, and he gave a valiant effort to do so, but Zach Fallon maintaining the momentum. He has secured himself the lead, at least for the next couple of laps. He's going to have to go defensive, though, because Hobson is looking very racy, and Fallon needs to get a bit more pace. There goes the slide job from Hobson to try and take the victory, but he loses too much momentum in the mid-corner. It's the penultimate lap for these guys. White flag for them next time by. Jacob Dixon and Aston Hurley are starting to close in 3rd and 4th. Can they hold on this final lap? Zach Fallon trying his best to keep the pace up against Brenton Hobson. He goes to the inside to go defensive once again. It looks like he has done just enough. Fallon crossing the line in 1st place, Hobson in 2nd, and it's going to be Jacob Dixon in 3rd.
Yeah, Hobson just coming up short there to end up getting the race to him, but nevertheless, very, very good drive, and he'll be happy with a 2nd place regardless. So we'll see what this D main brings us as all the constellations are getting sorted, but it is definitely a D main that we've got. So going through pretty much nearly the entire alphabet, but Lockie Beatty will be on pole, followed by Matt Reed joining him on the front row in second. Zach Howell and Hayden McCandy on the second row. Row 3, Billy Ryan and Ethan Bastian, with Bradley Sanders, Hayden Cardwell, and Hayden Pascoe rounding out the field.
Yeah, only 9 cars here in this D main, but it's going to be all about those top 2 positions. You finish first or second, you go through into the C main. You finish in the top 2 in that, you go through to the B main. You finish in the top 8 in the B main, and you get through to the feature. But it's in these initial consolation races where the stakes are the most high. All of these guys going to be battling for just those top 2 spots. We're either going to see a couple of guys run away with it, or we're going to see a lot of drivers having a shot and trying to get a ticket into the same main here.
Yeah, we certainly are. It's not the biggest consolation race field that we've seen in this series so far. Obviously, 9 cars, not too many, and obviously the top 2 going through is going to make it quite a challenge, but nevertheless going to be all about who can get through to the end of this race. Only 10 laps, so everybody got 2 extra laps to try and get through to that top 2, and Hayden Cardwell is definitely going to be one to watch, with the fact that he's starting in P8 and has had all sorts of good pace.
Yes, indeed. He had a very poor heat, getting caught up in that incident near the back of the field. So he's going to want to stay out of trouble in this one, secure his place. I mean, it's all well and good trying to go hell for leather, go for the win, but I'm sure that Cardwell, in his situation, would be happy with a second place. Ethan Bastian as well will be looking for a top 2 finish in this one. He knows that he is one of the drivers that deserves to be in this A main, but every driver can make a very reasonable, compelling case for why they deserve to be there. Pace truck comes in, green flag flies. We go racing for 10 laps here in the D main at Volusia Speedway Park, and it's a nice even start between Beatty and Reed at the front, and they pulled away from everyone else already. Bit of contact in the back there. It looks like Zach Howell and Ethan Bastian coming together. Bastian now at the back of the field. No, sorry, it's Hayden McCandy I was referring to. Ethan Bastian is ahead of all of these guys and up into third.
Yeah, and look at Hayden Cardwell just behind as well. Gets caught up with a bit of contact, and 2 behind at the back, ending up in the wall. Billy Ryan and Hayden Pascoe, so they're going to be pretty much well and truly out of it. But I was just going to say, Hayden Cardwell doing a fantastic job to drive through the field and pretty much try to latch on to those ahead of him. But nevertheless, at the moment, still going on for that final transfer spot between Bastian and BT, as Bastian nearly makes contact, and not too far behind as well was that battle between Sanders and also Cardwell.
Yeah, and if Sanders and Cardwell play their cards right, they are going to go right up to the back of these guys. Ethan Bastian trying once again for that second place, but Lockie Beatty with the better runs around the outside. Bastian tries the slide job. Beatty just goes straight back on through. Meanwhile, it looks like Cardwell has managed to get ahead of Bradley Sanders here, but Sanders trying the slide job and a little bit of contact there with Hayden Cardwell. Cardwell has just been bumped, nothing but bumped tonight, and I don't think he's going to be very happy with that. But Matt Reed has stroken away in the lead of this race. Car number 46 crossing the line to start lap 7. He is under no threat at all as the battle continues for second place. Ethan Bastian trying again versus Lockie Beatty, but it's not happening. Hayden Cardwell has managed to break free of Bradley Sanders. He's now right on the back of these guys. This could get very intense in the final 3 laps.
Yeah, it certainly is looking like it's going to be a very intense final 3-lap shootout to the checkered flag here between Bastian, BT and Cardwell. And Cardwell's there ready to pounce. He's looking around the outside of Ethan Bastian, who's trying to get up the inside. Slide job on Lockie BT, and they're going to be nearly 3 wide down the back straight. Cardwell looking to the inside to take both of them into the corner, and nearly going to make it happen, but 3 wide out of the corner. They're still going to be 3 wide. It's turn 1 as well.
Last lap 2, and it looks like Ethan Bastian getting the run out of turn 2 on Lockie Beatty. Cardwell tried his best, but it wasn't enough. Beatty trying the slide job. There is no compensation for him. Matt Reed has come home with a dominant victory here, but Ethan Bastian snatching second place from a 6th place start. So Matt Reed and Ethan Bastian will get through into the C main, which is going to be going live very, very shortly. We are live for the C main, and the grid is as follows. Callum Davidson and Hayden Veld are starting on the first row. Caden Brown and Dale Jordison, third and fourth. Ryan Harris and Damian Rasmussen sharing the third row, both guys that would want a better run in this consolation section of the night. Devin Butts and Carl Hoffmans in 7th and 8th. 9th and 10th, Travis Castagna and Matt Reed, our D main winner, and Ethan Bastian, P2 in the D main, starting 11th and last here. So the drivers move away, and as we start coming through in these formation laps of the C main, we'll just touch on the dash for pole that is happening right after the B main that is coming up shortly. We've got 2 dashes that we're going to be doing. One is for every position 2 finisher in the heats, and the next is for every position 1 finisher in the heats. So every heat winner taking part in that final dash of 6 laps, along with the Dash B winner, which would have been the winner of the race between the P2 finishers of the heats. I'm not making much sense, I understand, but I'm sure it will all make sense when we get going in the Dash. But it's an interesting format for sure, Cam.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's something we haven't actually seen in the series before, and I don't think we've ever seen it before actually at all. So it'll be interesting to see how it works and how it ends up going. But nevertheless, very much looking forward to it, and not too far away from going racing here in the C main.
Yes, indeed. Final turn for these guys as the pace truck pulls in. It's the green flag then, and we are away once more. The C main is go, and Callum Davidson securing the lead right away. Caden Brown moves into second. There's a big crash. Dale Jordison in the wall, as is Ryan Harris. Both of those guys not happy at all with what has transpired here. But for the lead, it's the slide job from Caden Brown. He tries to get the run on Callum Davidson, but not successful. But it looks like this top 4 battle, Cam, is looking very good. We got Carl Hoffmans and Hayden Veld battling behind for 3rd and 4th, and they both want those top 2 spots.
Yeah, those two aren't going to leave anything on the table. They're going to try to fight their way through, and Hayden making contact with Carl there, and Carl just holding on to it. So nearly ending in tears for both of those drivers, but managing to keep on going at the moment, and that's going to put Veld into the clutches of Rasmussen and also Reed as well, who aren't too far behind.
Ryan Harris has retired from this race, as has Ethan Bastian, 2nd place finisher in the D main. We will say goodbye to him for the rest of the night. I saw a slide job in the background there. Matt Reed, winner of the D main, trying to get past Damian Rasmussen for 5th place. Not having much success for the time being, but certainly potential. Trying for the slide job again. Caden Brown holds on to 2nd, and Callum Davidson is starting to pull away from all these guys.
Yeah, he certainly is doing a fantastic job at the moment. It doesn't have any pressure either, so he's just able to cruise on out front and run his line that he needs to. And 14.847 that last time by for Davison, while Hayden Brown did a 14.95 and Hayden Veld in the wall.
Oh, big contact between Veld and Hoffmans, and that contact sent Veld right into the access road down the back stretch where there's a wall that juts out. That's very unfortunate for him. Heavy damage to his car, and I think that's the last time we're going to see him for tonight. But coming around to start lap 9 of 12, Callum Davidson, he enjoys an incredible lead here over Caden Brown. It looks like the rest of the field is largely spaced out here. They've all got their own space on the circuit. Devin Butts in 6th place. He was involved in the lap 1 difficulties that were being experienced, and he's running down there in 6th place nice and consistently. But this has not been a great night for Devin. You can't really say it's been a great night for many drivers at the moment. We've seen a lot of heartbreak already.
Yeah, we certainly have. There's only about 6 drivers left in this race out of the 11 that started, so a number falling victim to contact or the outside wall, unfortunately. But at the moment, Callum Davidson, sorry, doing really good job. But Caden Brown is starting to come back at Callum Davidson here and could possibly take the win away here. And Davidson's out of fuel.
Oh my goodness, I was wondering why he was running so close to the bottom. Well, there we go. Callum Davidson was going to come home with an easy victory, but losing it on the final lap. Caden Brown and Carl Hoffmans are going to move forward into the B main out of all of this. Matt Reed, after starting from 10th place, coming up to 3rd, you know, that's an excellent drive, I think, for our D main winner. And it's a real shame that he wasn't able to get into that 2nd place, because I reckon based on that drive alone, he deserves a place in the feature.
Yeah, he certainly had the pace to get into the top 2 if he had have had the race go his way, but unfortunately couldn't quite get there in the end and just barely missed out by just over a 10th of a second. So unfortunately won't be continuing on, but B main is indeed up.
It is indeed, and Mitchell G and Nathan Norman are going to start on the front row here. Cruz McVie and Aston Hurley line up on the 2nd row. John Schultz and Vince Romeo share row 3, with Trent Gosley and James Rice starting in 7th and 8th. Tim Ryan fighting for the championship with Joel Berkeley. He starts from 9th place. Corey Steinhauser, Dylan DeBono, Caden Brown, and Carl Hoffmans round out the 13 cars here in this 14-lap race. Now, what we should point out here is that the top 8 from the B main move through into the feature. So if Tim Ryan would like to have a start in the feature, all he has to do is gain 1 position from where he started.
Yeah, certainly. Doesn't have a big task, but knowing Tim, he'll want to definitely get to the front of the field to give himself as best of a starting position as he possibly can for that feature, as he won't really want to be starting in dead last. He'll want to be trying to put himself in as good a position to try and recover some positions later on in the A main, if he does indeed make it through. So we'll see what happens, but he's got a bit of a road ahead if he wants to get to the front of the field.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a very difficult ask in this B main. You see how the track is evolving. It's certainly not up to the point that we've seen tracks go in previous rounds of the season, with a groove that stretches all the way from the bottom to the top. It's looking a little better here at Volusia, perhaps to do with not as many cars in this round as there were in round 2 the last time we raced at this track. But that groove itself is looking a bit narrow down on the bottom.
Yeah, it certainly is. And bear in mind that we are probably early in the day as well for this round compared to the later afternoon that we were in the 2nd round for the first time we came here. So we'll see what happens with the rest of the track. But the green flag is in the air, and a very good jump by the pole sitter of Mitchell G.
Yeah, and he's managed to hold on to that lead coming out of turn 2. Cruz McVie securing 2nd for the time being, and that's a move from Aston Hurley on John Schultz to try and claim 3rd, and for the lead between Mitchell G and Cruz McVie. McVie has managed to take the lead of the B main. Now, this is something we were interested to see.
Round at the back.
Big problem there. That's John Schultz, unfortunately, and Vince Romeo's been caught up in that as well. They will go to the back of the field. Tim Ryan, meanwhile, is continuing to run. He's actually lost a spot from where he started, so Ryan needs to start making moves soon if he wants to get into the A main.
Yeah, he certainly does. Although bear in mind, he's still got 10 laps to do it with this 14-lap B main, so still a bit of time for Tim to get some moves done, but he's not going to want to be too patient and end up losing out really, really later on. So we'll see what happens with Tim, but at the moment, Cruz McVie really applying a lot of pressure to Mitchell G, and Aston Hurley getting the mix there as well for that top 3, but those final few transfer spots, it's all on at the moment.
Yeah, certainly is. Ryan has managed to move himself up into 8th. Caden Brown with a poor run, and he's balked James Rice slightly. That's going to leave the opportunity open for Tim Ryan down there on the low line. He's trying to make it work as best he can Dylan DeBono trading places with Nathan Norman as well. Oh, there's contact between Nathan Norman and Caden Brown. Brown carrying a bit too much momentum into the corner. Ryan now up into 7th as of last time they crossed the line. It looks like he may just hold on to it here because Nathan Norman still running that high line, and Ryan, it seems, is starting to get an advantage down there on the bottom. Aston Hurley and Cruz McVie, meanwhile, battling for 2nd place. Mitchell G has managed to move himself back into the lead in the midst of all of this fighting. But between he and McVie, it looks like a 2-horse race there.
Yeah, it certainly does look like a 2-horse race, although if they keep fighting hard, Aston Hurley will be sure to close that gap back up to those top 2. But Tim Ryan already up into P4 at this stage and is starting to really reel in those guys at the top 3 running that bottom side of the racetrack.
Making the bottom line work beautifully is Tim Ryan. Amazing the amount of progress that he's made over these last 2 laps, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to catch up to this top 3 before the checkered flag flies. Starting lap 11, so it's 4 laps to go for these guys. Mitchell G holds on from Cruz McVie, but McVie now under big threat from Aston Hurley. Hurley trying his best to run that high line on the groove, but he's just not able to get the run he needs. As soon as he seems to get a good run, they come down to the compacted clay. He tries the slide job on McVie and actually manages to get it, but there's contact, and Cruz McVie on his side. He's going to fall all the way to the back of the field here and possibly out of the top 8.
Yeah, he certainly has fallen all the way to the back of the field, unfortunately. Pretty much he's fallen about down to about 11th or 10th at the moment by the looks of it. No, 9th actually. So just outside the transfer spots, but not going to be close enough to get a move done to make it inside that transfer spot. But what a drive by Mitchell G to take out the B main, followed by Aston Hurley in 2nd, and Tim Ryan taking home a 3rd place as well.
Excellent run there from Ryan, and a great run too from Dylan DeBono and Caden Brown. Starting 11th and 12th, they came home 4th and 5th in that. So Cruz McVie, unfortunately, fell just outside the transfer spot, finished in 9th place. So after a very strong drive for the majority of the B main, he has unfortunately gone into the position where we have to say goodbye to him. But now it's time for the twin dash. Now, this first dash is Dash B. It contains all of the 2nd place finishes in the heats. That is to say, Aaron Kelly, Alan Tacken, Harry Stewart, and Jacob Dixon. These guys are going to race for 4 laps around this spot. The winner of that 4-lap dash can then go through to Dash A, where they race against all of the winners from the heats for another 6 laps. I'm looking forward to seeing who comes away with this victory. At the moment, I wouldn't put it past Harry Stewart, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah, it'll probably more than likely be Alan Tacken or Harry Stewart, obviously teammates at United Sim Sports. So 2 very, very strong drivers and a very strong team pairing as well there. But Hobson right behind them as well. So we'll see who happens. Green flag is in the air and we are underway, and a very good jump by Brenton Hobson. And they're going to be 3-4 wide nearly, and big shunt from Alan Tacken.
Yeah, what on earth happened there? It looks like he did that completely on his own. He started and just went into the wall and it sucked him in. So he's completely out of this one now. Harry Stewart all alone for United Sim Sports up the top. Have a look at Aaron Kelly. He's really pressuring Harry Stewart here on the 2nd lap of this dash, but he hits the inside wall. He's lost all that momentum, and now he's going to come under some big pressure from Brenton Hobson. Harry Stewart starting to run away with this one. Between Aaron Kelly and Brenton Hobson, it looks like it's going to be one heck of a fight, though. Hobson trying that low line again. Harry Stewart also going low. Hasn't helped Hobson as they start the final lap of Dash B. Harry Stewart has put on a clinical drive for 4 laps of Volusia Speedway Park, and Aaron Kelly trying to get as close to the lead as he can by the time they finish, but Harry Stewart coming home with the victory, and he is going to get into Dash A.
Yeah, it's a good drive there by Stewart to put himself in very good contention to start on pole for the A main tonight. But now it's going to be all about who's going to take out this dash, as there's a number of very quick drivers in this one.
Yeah, there certainly are. We're looking for the winners of the heats, and that is Joel Berkeley, Bradley Oldfield, as well as Clayton Davies and Zach Fellon. Harry Stewart's going to be joining all of these guys. It's going to be a 5-car race, 6 laps, and this is going to decide who starts on pole for the WP Concreting FireCracker 35. So lining up then on the back stretch, these guys control their own start. And it has been decided the specific order they're going to start in, and it's going to be Fellon and Davies on the front row here, with Oldfield and Berkeley behind, and then Harry Stewart bringing up the rear. Waiting for the green flag to fly, and then we'll be racing for 6 laps here in Dash A. Who is going to get pole here at Volusia Speedway Park? At the moment, Clayton Davies looks like he is the one to get it, but the charging pack of Fellon and, oh my goodness, Oldfield and Berkeley almost coming together there. Big slide jobs happening all over the place. Fellon now is going to come into the lead. Oldfield making it work beautifully there on the compact line. 3 wide for the lead, as you like it. But Oldfield continues holding on here. Oh, he's getting into the wall, and he's gone back into Berkeley. Berkeley all the way to the back. Things are going to get interesting here. Zach Fellon is still holding on to that first place. This is going to be a very tight fight for pole cab.
Yeah, it certainly is. There isn't long left in the race at the moment, but Oldfield nearly in the wall again, and Berkeley nearly hitting the fence as well, running right up against the cushion, and going to pretty much make it a drag race. 3 wide into turn number 3. Once again, Berkeley goes to the high side and will get back into position number 3, but the laps are ticking down very, very quickly, and at the moment, Joel Berkeley is on an absolute mission to running that top side.
Yeah, he is. He's going down to the bottom here to try the slide job and try and take 2 positions in 1, but he loses both of them right on corner exit. It's on for the lead now on the final lap between Davies and Fellon. Can Berkeley get in on this? He tries motoring through the middle, and he might just be able to do it. Berkeley, can he hold on? It's going to be a very big photo finish, and it's going to be Berkeley by just 1,000th or so of a second. How do you like that? My goodness. That's how you want to get pole.
That was an incredible display of driving by Joel Berkeley. That absolutely railed the top side of the racetrack and pretty much have the right rear in the outside wall in 1 and 2 for 2 laps straight. But what a finish, and it was half a car length pretty much to end up winning that from Clayton Davies.
Yeah, certainly was. Incredibly close finish there for this pole position. That we have decided then that Joel Berkeley is going to start on pole. It's going to be Harry Stewart. No, sorry, my apologies. Immediately started reading the timing screen when I realized that is completely irrelevant. It's 90 seconds of warm-up before we get going for the A main here. And it's been quite a fun night so far. With the track evolving as it is, we're starting to see what we saw last time we were here at round 2, with drivers either running the extreme high line or the extreme low line. Seeing the likes of Joel Berkeley and BRENTON HOBSON running super high there in 1 and 2, nearly touching the wall as well. But drivers that will be trying their best to run the bottom, Harry Stewart, certainly a driver that's testing it out. And we know that Tim Ryan isn't above using the bottom line if he has to.
Yeah, we've certainly seen those two duke it out in various different lines as well over the course of the night so far, running the bottom side of the racetrack, running right up against the outside fence. And it's going to be all about just making sure you can be at the right place at the right time with where the grip is based on the way this track is forming. There seems to be a little bit of a line through the middle of the racetrack, especially through 3 and 4, but for 1 and 2, if you can rail that top side against that outside wall, you're really going to be blasting by everybody very quickly.
Yeah, you certainly are. Warm-up is over, and we will start to go through the potential of the A main. Of course, the drivers are going to switch themselves around on these initial formation laps, as it is a manually controlled feature in the ODSE 360 Power Series. The administration team of Brady Baldwin and Bob King doing very well over the course of this season. It's just Brady in race control at the moment, but still doing a very fine job. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this pans out here at Volusia. Quite the field as well. 20 cars on the grid for this A main. And we've got many of the usual suspects here. We got Joel Berkeley, we got Tim Ryan, we got Harry Stewart, we got Lewis Hewitt, we got Brenton Hobson, we got Aston Hurley. We've got everyone here. And all of these guys vying for that position 1. But I reckon if you're in this for the cash, you want to try and aim for 6th.
Yeah, you certainly do, especially if you know you're not quite going to have the pace to challenge for the lead of that race, but you can have some reasonable pace to be somewhere thereabouts. So we'll see who ends up trying to more or less get that $20 from Hobo, but it'll be interesting to see what happens nevertheless.
Yeah, it certainly will. And once these drivers have done their 2 iRacing formation laps, it's going to be a 4-wide salute around Volusia for 1 lap, and we'll be able to go racing shortly thereafter. With 35 laps of green flag running, it's a pretty typical race length, considering the race lengths that we've had in previous rounds, but still, it's a place that evolves very quickly, is Volusia, and it's completely different from the start to the end of a race.
Yeah, it certainly is, and changes very, very quickly, like you said. So it's going to be just really all about adapting to the current conditions, as I've just seen a nice cloud come over to allow the track to sort of cool down a little bit, which will help the moisture. But we'll see what happens with this track and where the line to be is and where you want to be running, more or less.
Yeah, exactly right. As we said before, it's either really high or really low at the moment, particularly when it comes to the entry to turn 1 and the exit of turn 4. I noticed that the compacted clay comes up very high right on the entry on the outside. So what that means is there's going to be quite a kick in the rear end when you turn in for those corners.
Yeah, there certainly is, and you really have to be ready for it, because if you're not going to be ready for it, you end up getting caught out by it, and you just lose so much momentum and can possibly find yourself in the outside wall if you're unlucky enough. But we'll see what happens, and they're going to be going 4 wide next time by, so the 4-out salute is about to happen.
It certainly is, and away we go. There it is. Every row 4 wide. It's been a while since I've seen this. Reminds me of the 4 wide Quinana salute at Perth Motorplex, where drivers do much the same thing in the sprint cars. Excellent stuff from these guys, and I guess as well showing their appreciation for what has been a very well run and very competitive championship, this Oceanic Dirt Sim Events 360 Power Series. It's been a very big undertaking, this championship, and we are honoured here at SimSpeed to have been along for the ride. Final round next week, and honestly, I can't wait for future seasons.
Yeah, certainly. It's been a fantastic season, this one, and can't wait for any future seasons that might happen, whether it be even late models, for example, or even 410s. It's just been such a well-run series, and there's been so many exciting moments in races that it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future. But the green flag is in the air, and we are underway.
We are, and it's a good start from Joel Berkeley. Holds onto the lead and dives to the inside, and it looks like he is going to have the momentum as Zach Fellon follows him down on that low line. Clayton Davies trying to make the high line work, as is Aaron Kelly and Alan Tacken. Little bit of 3 wide running in the background as we see Tim Ryan trying to pick his way through the field here. He was in 13th at the line, but he's looking to try and make moves. Sticking to the inside on the back stretch is Tim Ryan, and that's where all of the grippy clay is, but it's a huge battle, titanic battle for the lead here. High and low between Joel Berkeley and Zach Felon. Making his way up to this is Harry Stewart and Clayton Davies, and they have got Oldfield and Hewitt and Kelly all in tow. Brenton Hobson currently holds on to position 8th. Tim Ryan has just gotten himself through into 9th place, sliding his way past Brad O'Brien, so Ryan making moves massively.
Yeah, he's on a charge to try and get to the front of the field and consolidate that points gap that he's going to have now to Joel Berkeley, especially with 1 round to go. So he's not going to want to lose any more points at this stage in time, and not going to want to make any mistakes either. But it's a big train of cars at the moment for that final, well, for that $20 spot of 6th place between the cars of Lewis Hewitt, Aaron Kelly, Brenton Hobson, all vying for a spot there, as well as Clayton Davies, and it's really getting heated up. 3 wide through number 4 as well.
Yeah, certainly. Damian Rasmussen said to Brenton Hobson before this event that if Hobbo finished 6th, then Rasmussen would double the prize money for 6th. So Hobson could come away with $40 if he holds on to it. And he's trying his best here versus Clayton Davies for that spot, and he's managed to take it. Tim Ryan following him through here.
Yeah, Tim's still running that bottom side. He's really working it. You can just see he's just trying to manage the grip, especially with how difficult it is at the moment and how many cars are around him. Or car just in the wall there, that was Clayton Davies, but managed to keep on going. But Tim Ryan's still running that bottom side, but he's got Brenton Hobson squeezing him right down to that inside wall, and Brenton trying to find some grip in the middle of the racetrack, just can't quite seem to do it.
It looks like he's managed to, oh, hello, something's happened out on track, and the caution flag has been brought out. It's the, we're going to get a modem simulation replay of this one. It looks like it was Brad O'Brien, car number 77, that was involved in that one. We'll see what happened here. It looks like an incident down the front stretch here. Brad O'Brien being given an end-of-line penalty for this because he was deemed at fault. Both he and Alan Tacken coming together, and it was deemed to be O'Brien's fault, as you'll see here. It just hits the wall, comes down, and clobbers Tacken, who was on the inside.
Everybody did a fantastic job to avoid avoid making contact with Brad O'Brien there and splitting the seas. It was just unbelievably close to possibly ending in tears for him there.
Yeah, for sure it was. Well, fortunately, both of them have managed to keep going, and double file restart it's going to be for these guys. Joel Berkeley, we didn't talk much about him past the start, but looking back at him, he enjoyed quite the lead before we went into the caution period. Berkeley right at the front and very comfortable in his car at the moment. But Zach Felon was holding station very nicely in 3rd. Stewart versus Hewitt for 3rd and 4th. I'm interested to see how that works out. But Tim Ryan, crucially, has managed to move himself up into the top 6. So he's certainly got a chance of vaulting himself further forward and going toe-to-toe with Berkeley for both the lead of the race and the championship.
Yeah, he's certainly put himself in a really good position at the moment. It has Tim Ryan, with the fact that he's moved all the way up into 6th place after so many laps running under green to get through the field. But pace truck is off, and Joel Berkeley is away with a very good jump, and Zach Felon managing to get ahead of Harry Stewart as well.
Yeah, interesting there. So Berkeley holding on to the lead, and Harry Stewart getting himself up into 2nd place. Lewis Hewitt trying to hold that middle line. It managed to put himself right in front of Zach Felon. Oh my goodness. Yellow flag instantly comes out there. That was, looks to be the driver of Aaron Kelly, who was put into the wall there, and we will get a modem simulation replay of that for him. it was just a case of hitting the back of Zach Felon, and that speared him right into the wall, almost took Hobson with him.
Yeah, that was very lucky for Hobbo. I would have seen his his life flash before his eyes with how close he came to hitting. He actually did hit the rear end of Aaron Kelly, but it was only a minor tap, so he might have just got away with that one. His front wing does look a little bit bent up, but nevertheless, he's managed to escape death there.
Yeah, he certainly has. Well, I think since this is back-to-back cautions, we might be restarting single file, but we will confirm that when we come around to it. We didn't have much racing to talk about in that very short period before the next caution flag came out, but looks to me like ultimately Tim Ryan managed to get himself up into third in those crucial few moments, and Lewis Hewitt up into fourth.
Yeah, so Tim in prime position now to challenge for the race win here, and he'll be hoping to try and break Joel Berkeley's win streak at the moment, who's on the 3-pin, trying to go for the 4 in a row at the moment, but we'll see what happens regardless. Harry Stewart also been doing a really good job as well, challenging Joel Berkeley, holding on to that second place as well. Lewis Hewitt also in there, going to be challenging Tim and not going to be letting him go any easier either. So we'll see what happens here, and it's going to be a very, very big tussle between that top 6 especially.
Yeah, it certainly is. Lights are off then on the pace truck that will return into the pits. And for Joel Berkeley, getting on the throttle nice and hard there as we go green once again. Ryan and Hewitt almost coming together across the start-finish line. There goes Harry Stewart to the high line, trying his best to make it work. Joel Berkeley trying to stick to the bottom, but now he's trying to cover Stewart off. It's not worked for him, though. Harry Stewart motoring right around the outside to take the lead of the A-main.
Yeah, great move by Harry Stewart. It's all going on just behind as they're nearly 2 and 3 wide as well further back in the field, but Tim Ryan still managing to keep hold on to that 3rd place at the moment, but Lewis Hewitt trying to find a way on the bottom side of the racetrack, and Joel Berkeley has gone down there as well. Now Tim Ryan running the top side of the racetrack, so Joel's going to have to be careful here, because if Tim starts running that top side and pulling away, he's not going to be in a good place to be. We've got 20 laps to go at this point.
Indeed we have. So Harry Stewart then holds on to that 1st place. But Joel Berkeley now starting to come under some immense pressure from Tim Ryan. Berkeley going to run the high line. See how it works for him. It seems like he has managed to make it work, at least on that occasion. But we know that Tim Ryan is very strong out of turn 2 and down the back stretch. Not making much of an impression on Berkeley this time by, though. So it's not going to work out for Tim Ryan. But Berkeley has gone right up to the back of Harry Stewart once again. A great run from him after losing the lead. He's going to take it right back here with the slide job to boot. And Harry Stewart, oh, hello. It's another yellow flag. Looks like a big crash there in the last turn. Daniel Gow flipping right over. So racing pauses once again. As we actually, it looks to me like it wasn't just Gow. It was an incident that happened a little bit earlier. Alan Tacken getting spun by Aston Hurley coming into turn 3. So that was what ultimately brought out the caution. But Daniel Gow getting caught up in the ensuing melee. So a lot of drivers probably looking very unhappy coming out of this one with the amount of spins that we've seen.
Yeah, the number of cautions won't be helping those, especially at the front of the field, the likes of Joel Berkeley and Harry Stewart. And Joel's just managed to hold on to the lead of the race after that caution as well. So very, very lucky to hold on to it. But the drivers involved in that incident, you've got the likes of Gow and Dixon and Norman and DeBono, Hurley. So few drivers, unfortunately, ending up in the wars after that incident and ending up down the field. But that battle for the lead is really going to start to heat up with these laps starting to tick down.
Yeah, certainly is. It's now a proper 4-way fight, I reckon, for the lead here. Berkeley and Stewart, the 2 main players, but Tim Ryan and Lewis Hewitt looming behind them. and trying to stake their claim for those top 2 positions themselves. Brenton Hobson, meanwhile, holds on to 5th place. Zachary Fellon is currently in the box seat to win the $20 courtesy of Hobo88, currently sitting in at position 6th. It looks like the restarts are going to be double file from now on. It seems the drivers don't mind the good racing that we've had so far, as the pace truck pulls in a further time. A good start from Joel Berkeley as we go green again. Harry Stewart's going to stay with him and go down to the inside. Briefly 3 wide on the exit of turn 2 as we see Tim Ryan running at the extreme inside here with his left side wheels on the grippy dirt, trying his best to get by Harry Stewart, but just doesn't have the momentum. Oh, and there we go. Another big incident further back in the field. Bradley Oldfield and Daniel Gow both involved in that one as we saw the caution come out once again. So what happened to Oldfield here? It looks like he just, a little bit of contact between himself and Mitchell G, which sent him into the wall.
Yeah, and it was just the slightest bit of contact. Caught the right rear with his left front, did Bradley Oldfield, and pretty much just put himself straight in the wall. And then Daniel Gow, unfortunately, having nowhere really to go but straight into the car of Bradley Oldfield. So both those cars going to be reasonably damaged now, especially Daniel Gow's, who's had not the best feature so far, now being part of 2 cautions.
Yes, indeed. But Bradley Oldfield is the one given the penalty by race control. He's been sent to the back of the grid for this restart. So he's going to have to recalibrate himself. Just see how far up he can get in these final laps of the feature. We haven't got long to go, closing in on 10 laps left. So now it's going to be a question of how long can you hold on? Because the track is certainly in a very poor state right now. A bit of grippy clay up in the middle of the track in turns 3 and 4, but other than that, unless you're running the extreme bottom or the extreme top, you are going absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, certainly are. There's not a lot of grip left in this track by the looks of it at this stage. A lot of slick and rubbered in parts of the track to make it very difficult. And like you said, there's only really 2 lines at this stage, and it's either putting your right rear right up against that outside wall and risking it all, or putting it right down to that inside wall and risking it all as well. So it's going to be a matter of just making sure you don't hit either wall.
Yeah, exactly right. But it's not something that is easy to avoid, the walls at Volusia. Well, here we go again. Good start from Joel Berkeley, and it looked like the third place man, Lewis Hewitt, moved in front of Tim Ryan on the restart, which he won't be too happy about, but they continue racing anyway. Joel Berkeley running very high, in a brief moment of 3 wide here between Hewitt, Ryan and Stewart. But have a look at Hewitt and Ryan down on the bottom, making it work. It's going to be 3 wide again into 3 and 4. Oh no, there we go. Tim Ryan tagging Lewis Hewitt, sending him on his side and bringing the caution flag out once again.
Now, Tim might get a penalty for that because there was contact between the 2 of them, and Lewis was there, although it's very hard to judge. Although I think, yeah, that's hard to judge, but Hewitt coming off second best, unfortunately, and ended up getting collected by Dale Jacob Dixon as well. So the front end missing on Lewis Hewitt's car, and Tim Ryan has been given an ELL penalty.
Oh no! The championship fight is seriously looking in jeopardy for Tim Ryan at the moment. With about 10 laps to go, 13 or 14, we're going to see both the top 2 in the championship starting at the front and the rear of the grid. So Joel Berkeley will be loving this, giving him the advantage that he needs. Tell you what, this sets up a great championship fight coming into the last round.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's going to be a very, very big order for Tim to try and climb his way up to the points that Joel Berkeley's got in the championship. But it's definitely set this up to be Joel Berkeley's to lose at this stage.
Yeah, exactly right. Berkeley, though, has put on a magnificent drive so far in this one, starting from pole and leading almost all the way. So it's been quite the comfortable ride, I think, for Joel Berkeley in this race. Of course, his perspective may be very different from inside that cockpit. So it's going to be one more lap here behind the pace truck before we go racing again for what we hope is the final time tonight, because we don't have much longer left in this feature before we crown the winner of the FireCracker 35. So there we go, green flag. And it looks like Joel Berkeley continuing to hold on round the outside this time, because Harry Stewart has managed to get himself onto that inside line, and he pushes himself a bit too far up the track. Carried a bit too much momentum into the entry. Berkeley briefly gets into the wall, and have a look at Brenton Hobson. He's managed to get himself up into third here. He was challenging for second. Harry Stewart's fallen back, and have a look at Caden Brown too. The field has come alive.
Yeah, it certainly has. It's throwing a spanner in the works for a lot of these drivers, and now it's all on between Brenton Hobson and Caden Brown for those final podium positions at the moment. Brenton not letting anything go, but Zach Fallon also starting to put a bit of pressure on Harry Stewart as well. We've got 10 laps to go in this feature, so not a lot left, well, not long left in this race, and there's all sorts going on further back in the field. Tim Ryan has made no gains and is still all the way down the order, but at the moment it's all going off at the front of the field.
Yeah, it is. Joel Berkeley holding a nice lead. Caden Brown has cleared Hobson, but Harry Stewart is looking very racy behind him. In the back half of the field, we're seeing some very close racing, because Nathan Norman heading up a pack from 8th place back with Clayton Davies, Dylan DeBono, and Aston Hurley all fighting behind him. Then you've got Tim Ryan and James Rice, with Alan Tacken and Brad O'Brien rounding up the almost rear. So all of these guys fighting incredibly hard for what ultimately are minor positions, but still a very good race.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Tim's still trying to find a way past cars as he makes contact with Aston and Hurley there by the looks of it. So Tim really not having a good time being further back in the field, and he's full wide as well, just further back. So it's all going off back there. But at the moment, Joel Berkeley doing a fantastic job to hold on to the lead of this race and doing comfortably on the bottom side of the racetrack as well. Caden Brown throwing everything he possibly can at Joel Berkeley to try and get this race win.
Yeah, Caden Brown throwing it right into the corners, running the high line on the exit of 3 and 4, and it's given him some momentum down the straights, but I don't know if he has enough to really challenge Berkeley at this stage, running incredibly close to the wall. Berkeley just kept it nice and consistent over the course of this feature. He continues to hold a lead of about half a second there over Caden Brown. Brenton Hobson has fallen off the back of Caden Brown now, so he is looking comfortable in second, but he would like to taste that victory. Hasn't got much time left to do it, though. Berkeley is going to come across the line here, and it's going to be, I believe, 2 laps to go. Oh no, my goodness! Big slide from Caden Brown. He's fallen right back now, battling with Mitchell G in P5, so that's promoted Brenton Hobson to second right at the end of the race here. And it's going to be a potential podium here for Zach Fallon. Only one more lap then for Joel Berkeley. He comes out onto the back stretch and into 3 and 4. And a dominant victory for Joel Berkeley here at Volusia Speedway Park. Certainly a victory that he's going to be super happy with is Joel Berkeley, but Brenton Hobson getting second out of all of that. Best result of the season for Hobson, easily.
100%, a great drive by Hobbo to end up getting onto the podium out of absolutely nowhere as well, considering he started P8, and the man getting the $20 from Hobbo as well will be Harry Stewart by the looks of it, who did manage to finish 6th in the end.
Yeah, looks like it. It's not the result that Stewart would have wanted. He was battling for the lead for the majority of the first half of that feature, but still, 6th place and taking home $20 cold hard cash thanks to Hobbo88 is going to be something that tastes very sweet for Harry Stewart anyway. With Tim Ryan finishing in 8th, he does get a top 10 finish, which is good to see, but it's not going to help his championship battle with Joel Berkeley in the slightest. So we are in for an incredible 12th and final round next week.
Certainly, there's no doubt about it that next week is going to be very, very intense and going to be very, very competitive between the likes of Tim Ryan and Joel Berkeley.
It certainly is. And speaking of, we're going to go to driver interviews to cap off the night here. And Slick Sim Sports' Joel Berkeley joins us in the commentary box. Congratulations on the victory, Joel. It seemed pretty comfortable for you out there from the commentary box. Was it behind the driver's seat?
If I'm honest, I felt pretty evil there, like until about 10 to go. But yeah, once it got into that later stage on that last restart, I got a bit comfortable and just focused on hitting my marks and not putting myself in a dangerous spot on the top in 1 and 2 and out of 4.
Well, coming home with the win in Heat 1 as well, this is an excellent job from you in this round. Certainly gives you a great points haul versus Tim Ryan coming into the final round, especially considering that your closest championship rival finished 8th in the feature.
Yeah, look, I think it's going to tie up the points a lot with drop rounds. Obviously, Tim did have a fairly substantial margin over me, but throughout the last couple of weeks, he's seemed to have, I don't know, been able to do good laps and then hasn't been able to put a full night together up front. But Tim's at the top of the class and he'll probably come out next week and clean sleep and school me. But hopefully I'm just maintaining a decent points gap for next week. And Winnie is probably one of my worst tracks, so hopefully good there, but we'll see.
Well, nevertheless, with the win here at Volusia, would you consider it redemption for the incident with Alex Bergeron earlier in the season? How does it compare?
Oh, I'll call it a bit of redemption. There was obviously Alex and a few others were missing tonight. Like Jock wasn't here. He was off with another league race, and but I mean, yeah, it's obviously good to get some redemption after getting taken out last lap by Alex here last time. So yeah, can't complain. Doing everything we can to go towards winning the championship.
Well, we wish you the best of luck from that position, Joel. Before we let you go, any shout outs, any sponsors? Who gets it done for you at Slick?
Yeah, look, it's a massive credit to everyone at Slick Simsport. We've been on a fairly decent roll as of late, I feel. But yeah, look, it's a credit to everyone there. Hayden got a bit unlucky tonight, and yeah, it was just me and Hayden tonight. So it was, yeah, sold Slick Car in the feature, and yeah, thanks to Hayden for spotting me throughout the feature.
Thank you very much for joining us, Joel Berkeley, your feature winner here in the WP Concreting FireCracker 35 at Volusia. Cam, we have a very big surprise on the podium. You stood by with the man himself, Hobbo88.
Well, Hobbo, you ended up getting on the podium out of absolutely nowhere, considering all the drama that happened in front of you. So you've got to be absolutely stoked with that.
Yeah, I think we were pretty good for a 6th place tonight, and then everyone crashed out in front of us. So we take we can get them. I think it might be my first podium in the series. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, it didn't come to track. I would have expected it, but you take them whenever you get them.
Yeah, you certainly do. Now, sitting in the 6th place in the championship, it hasn't been too bad of a run for you as far as various different rounds, but have you been happy with the progress of the championship so far?
Yeah, happy enough. I mean, I've had a couple of real dud races, missed a few A mains, but typically we're fairly consistent as we can be against a pretty stacked field anyway. So just chipping away in the points. We're not really ever a contender to win very much, but with sort of top 10s and stuff, you get enough of them and you bank enough points, and at the end of the championship, you find yourself there or thereabouts. So yeah, coming in 6th, this won't hurt, and linear next, I think. So another track that I tend to like. So with any luck, we can finish strong, maybe try and get towards the top 5, but who knows? It is what it is.
Yeah, it certainly is, and linear is indeed next on the calendar. But before we let you go, just any thanks and any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, obviously a shout out to the guys at SSR. I mean, it's a good fun bunch of guys to race with, and we all have a bit of a laugh and enjoy ourselves. So, shout out to all the other guys who have a run with us and help with the setups and all that stuff. But quick mention to some of the sponsors: JK Signs, DGD Customs, Speedway Shop, Newlon, DM Cinematography, and any others that are on the car. It's that's what it's all about. And a quick shout out for you guys as well. Appreciate all the work that you put in for the broadcast and admins who run the series. It's a good fun series.
Well, thank you very much, Hobbo, and we'll hope to see you in the comments box next time around. But Reese, you are standing by with the third place finisher, Zach Fallon.
Indeed, I am. Welcome to the commentary box, Zachary, and congratulations on the third place. How does it feel to get a podium position?
Bit of a monkey off my back, actually. There's been a few times throughout the season where the car pace has sort of been there. I think I was running around in February in fourth, and lap to go, I disconnected, and there's just been times where I've been in dash transfers and everything throughout the last season, and I've had internet connections or something's happened, and so yeah, good to come to here tonight and get a podium and sort of get a good result for the effort we've been putting in.
So it is a very sweet tasting podium for you after what has been a bit of a patchy season so far, but penultimate round at Volusia. Do you enjoy this track? Does it feel good to be able to get a podium here in particular?
I actually come here kind of a bit and up in the air as to how we're going to go, to be honest, after sort of doing so many laps for World Series over the last month or so. Sort of come in doing testing laps and didn't really feel too comfortable, so I had no idea how we so it does feel pretty good in that sense, where I thought I was probably going to be nowhere coming in. But in terms of it being sweet, it is probably a bit bittersweet. I took Aaron Kelly out by mistake, so I apologise to him. I just got a bit loose checking up for a car in front of me, and sort of drifted down into him. So I apologise for ruining his night. But yeah, pretty all overall good to get a result here.
Are you hoping for another podium at Lania next week, considering the form you've shown tonight?
I probably feel the same about Lanier as what I do here. So if that's anything to go off, then hopefully, yeah, you'll get a good result.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Zach, and congratulations again. Before we let you go, any shout outs or any sponsors from your end?
Yeah, the boys at One Performance Racing, they're all a good bunch of dudes, and we're slowly starting to get there. I think first day main we had most of our boys in the field. One Performance, ZP Images and Euros Driver Performance are our two main sponsors that we have to thank.
Zachary Fallon, your third place finisher here at Volusia Speedway Park. Well, that, Cam, brings to an end proceedings for tonight once again. One heck of a race we've had here at Volusia. I couldn't take my eyes off any car in the field. Everything was just happening all over the place in that A-main.
Yeah, it certainly was. There was cars going left, right, and centre, going 3, 4 wide. It was all on throughout the field, and really, really good racing that Volusia once again seems to produce. So, yeah, it's been a fantastic round so far again, and looking forward to seeing what Lanier's going to have for us in store.
Yes, indeed. The final round of the championship at Lanier International Speedway, the dirt version, is going to go off same time next week. Make sure that you're there. We'd love to have you along for the ride. We're going to have a champion to crown at the end of it all. Thank you very much to WP Concreting for your sponsorship of this round and your support. Thank you very much to Oceanic Dirt Sim Events for putting this whole show on in the first place and running a very tight ship. Thank you to all the drivers for putting on a great show. Thank you to the viewers for joining us on this wild ride. And of course, we want to say thanks to everyone up here in the comms box as well. Cam alongside me and Scott Fountain on cameras. My name's Reese Gardner. You've been watching the Oceanic Dirt Sim Events 360 Power Series, the penultimate round of the season at Volusia. Well, Joel Berkeley was the one who took victory. Can he snatch the championship from Tim Ryan in the final round at Lanier? We'll find out next week. Bye for now, but not forever.
fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going with the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my god.
God, what?
Assist to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Rayon Fowler into the outside wall.
Gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Lee to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is gonna touch in. Pit crash sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside, and Tronke goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's Howley down to the inside.
He's trying this contact though.
Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Benner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact. He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cutback here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schubert